I think one of my more exciting parts about preparing for this interview was seeing you on talk shows and talk about the Reform Alliance, seeing you lined up or sitting next to Meek Mill. I think so many times, many of us who feel like we're on the front lines think we have a different perspective of it, and that's why we're there. You've been able to create an enormous amount of wealth. You don't necessarily come from the same places that some of the people you are willing to support in parole reform and probation reform has come from. And I think like that was what had me so excited to get an opportunity to meet you, because you were doing things that didn't necessarily benefit you. When you look at what you've been able to create, what you've been able to do through the Reform Alliance, what are some of like the proud moments you have of that? And also too, I guess it's two-part, what made you want to be a part of something like that?
Well, let me start with the second part of the question first, and give you an honest answer, which is, I never wanted to be part of it.
Wow.
I got thrown into it. And by the way, and you know what happens if you get thrown into a street fight? You got to fight. And so, you know, for me, you know, the part of the story that a lot of people forget is Meek had been one of my best friends long before he got sentenced to prison.
Okay.
And so, you know, I knew Meek, you know, 3-4 years earlier. We'd probably been out 100 times before he called me one day. I was with him on a Friday. He says, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you come to court with me on Monday? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, like if you really want me to come to court with you, yeah, I'll come to court with you. It was, you know, 20 minutes from my house. And that was the smartest thing he ever did. What he said to me is, Michael, I want you to see what happens to a black person when they go to court. And you know, I didn't think anything of it. I'm just like, okay, like, you know, he wants me to come to court with him, I'll come to court with him. Like, I just canceled my afternoon. I went to court with him. And he had been, everyone knows this part of the story, he had been, you know, he had got a ticket actually on this highway here.
Yep.
He got a ticket for popping a wheelie on a motorcycle, and he had broken up a fight in the airport where there was video surveillance showing that he had broken the fight up. And he said to me, like, I'm afraid I'm gonna get sent back to prison. I'm like, Meek, shut the f up. You are not going to prison for popping a wheelie on a motorcycle and for breaking a fight up in the airport. Not possible. And so I called him, like, I knew he was nervous because he was like, he tried to be cool, but he was like uncomfortable that weekend. Yeah. And so I called him a couple times and said, like trust me, you're good. Like, you got nothing to worry about. So I went to court, and it was a crazy experience. I mean, the story is very well known, but obviously the probation officer said, hey, we recommend no sentence for him. The district attorney said, hey, they recommend no sentence. And then the judge said, hey, we're gonna sentence you. And they asked me to get up and speak, and I talked about, you know, my relation with Meek, how well I knew him, you know, how he spent lots of time with my daughter, my mom, how he'd been around Robert Kraft, all the people in sports, you know, how, look, no one's perfect. I don't know what his background was from years before, but like, this is a good guy who's creating jobs for people, doing good things. And like the judge didn't say anything to me. She's like, okay, like, go. And then they sentenced him to 2 to 4 years in prison for not committing a crime.
Right.
And that was like, my whole world changed that moment, because, you know, I wasn't looking to get in the middle of this. I didn't understand the issue. To be honest, all the times he had told me about the crazy judge, and she was crazier than he ever said, I never processed it. Right. When I saw that happen firsthand, which is why the smartest thing he did was get me to come to court, I literally looked at him and I looked at his mom. I said, I'm not stopping until I get you out of prison. And then
That's so amazing, man.
And then I met this woman, Desiree Perez, who's the CEO of Rock Nation. And Desiree, who I'd never met, was sitting, she said, hey, I'm Desiree, you know, I'm the CEO of Rock Nation. I'm not stopping until I get him out of prison. I said, okay, I guess we're gonna do this together. And that was how I got involved. And the truth be told, in the first 3 months, I did not understand the issue. I did not care about the issue. It was all about getting my brother out of prison who didn't commit a crime. And like, to me, I'm like, okay, this guy, he's hopeless on his own, okay? Now you got someone who's got a decent amount of influence in Pennsylvania, where I'm from. I'm like calling the governor, calling the district attorney, calling the mayor, I'm calling every single person, putting pressure on everyone I can. And it wasn't until we hired, you know, dozens of investigators, found out that he'd always told me he was framed. He never pointed the gun at the police officer. Then a cop came forward and said, yeah, the whole thing's a lie. No one asked me that he was framed. He signed an affidavit. Then we still couldn't get him out of prison. And it was like toward the end of him being in prison where I said, Meek, things always happen for a reason. You know what? You went to jail for a reason. we got to do something about this. When you get out of prison, like, we owe this to every other person who's affected by this. And Meek was like, we got to change this. Jay-Z was like, we got to change this.
That's dope,
Robert Kraft,
man.
by the way, he was converted. He went from saying to me in the beginning, Michael, why are you spending so much time on this? Why are you taking time away from your business? Till he went to prison, he saw Meek. He called me 5 times that night. He said, how have you not got him out of prison yet? Why is it taking so long? I don't understand. And so, you know, the day Meek got out of prison, me, Meek, Robert, Jay-Z said, like, we're going to start a criminal justice organization
So
to
awesome,
fix this.
man.
And I got to tell you
That's
something.
amazing, bro.
We've been at it for 3.5 years. We made up a goal, and people ask all the time how we came up with a goal. We said we're going to get 1 million people that are on probation or parole that shouldn't be out of the system. There was 4.5 million people at the time. This is 3.5 years ago. We've already cleared a pathway for 650,000 people that are on probation or parole to get out earlier from the laws that we've changed. So it's been incredibly rewarding. You know, having the honor to, look, this is an issue that affected me. Look,
I think that makes it, and I don't mean to interrupt you, I think that makes it all the more admirable that you spent your time giving to it, though, you know?
Well, look, let's keep this real. When you're financially successful, it's easy to give money away, okay? I give lots of money away. That's easy. What's hard is to do the work. But this was like, and I'm not a religious person, I'm not like really a spiritual person. This was God's calling. Like, this was like, you know, Meek went to prison to expose this issue. Right. He went to prison 3 different times on probation violations for not committing a crime. And it was our responsibility to fix the underlying system. And I gotta tell you something, we have an incredible board now, but I mean, in addition to the 4 people that started it, we have so many other incredible founders, so many people giving real money. We've probably raised over $100 million for this issue. You know, we've put in, the founding team's put in probably $60 or $70 million so far. And we're making real progress. So it's fun. Like, you asked me about what drives me, that's winning. It's just winning in a different way, and I love that. Like, whether I'm winning in business, whether I'm winning in the reform lines, like, think of how lucky I am. I get to learn about an issue. I get to take my business acumen and help apply it there with an incredible team. And I get to see results, and that's fun. By the way, if I failed, it'd be fun to fail and then learn to figure out how to win again.